Welcome back to another video of me, Logan, working on my S15. Today, prepping the rear of the car for the subframe. So, I've got a complete order of GKTech arms here. So, we've got traction, toe, camber, and then I've got the stock arms. Got one knuckle fresh, all prepared there as well. All the dust boots, won't be using any of them. And we got the bushes for the end of the camber. Probably pulled all the bushes out just so I don't lose them. Pop them aside safe, as I'm going to use the factory arms, line the camber and toe roughly up, and the traction exactly to the same point as stock. To be fair, didn't need to go the traction arms, only did it because they look that much better than the stock ones and want it all to match. Pretty simple concept. Bolt on each end. Set the length, as I said, camber, toe, doesn't matter, they're going to get adjusted, they're going to be well off. The camber arm's going to need to be extended a long way, and the toe arm's I think shortened a bit from standard, otherwise it'll just be well off. Checking outside again soon, so it's alright. They'll leave them finger tight on the ends, but the biggest ones to make sure are just the traction arms being the stock length, which is easy enough, same idea. Check a couple of bolts through. Roughly there. I have to check. Go from this side. Chuck that one on there. We'll chuck one of the other ones on just to spread it out. At the moment it's a bit long. One-handed's a bit of a challenge, but we'll make it work. So we just have to dial it in so it's the same length. At the end of it, I'll also get the ruler out just to verify it's the same length, and also make sure this rose joint sits vertical as I tighten it up. But it's easy enough, we'll do that off camera. Can need both hands. Although with the rear arms all set to length, I wanted to put them in place. I can't. The subframe's finger tight in there, not on the other side, as I want to run the fuel lines down past it and just want the extra space. Just waiting on a solution for my LCAs at the bottom. The bushes I put in them turned out to be wrong. It's just an unfortunate situation, but we'll sort that out soon enough. That way I can pretty much get this side done up tight. The only thing, no, there's actually nothing stopping me on this side. Everything should be able to get done up tight. You can see the bottom part of the brake line's on there now. Really need to replace that screw with a black one and put one down the bottom one as well. That's easy enough, but an exciting package just got here. So we've got a ETS intercooler. So this is Mark IV 4-inch Supra kit, which is just the core. Just got it sitting in position so I can roughly see what I'm working with. That's pretty much sitting level, a little bit higher than the rail at the bottom. Work out that bloody bolt is that's hanging out of there too. Maybe it's cut it off. Don't know if he's actually attached or not, but yeah, just sitting in place, work out what I'm going to do, if this will work. I think I'll probably just take those rails back a little bit. I'm still deciding, rather not if I don't have to, but they do give a bit more clearance if I do. Need to try with the reel on, as it looks like it's going to come straight out into it. Not a huge reel on these, and I might be able to remake it a bit. See what happens. There's a bit of a play around. Might try that very shortly, but it is pretty damp out, so if the rain changes direction, I change jobs. Silicon joiner wise, just playing around with 90 on this side to work it out. Looks like I'll probably go 120, that way I'll just go a little bit of an angle and it'll be able to run to the turbo easy enough. But that's easy. I guess the piping bit's the easiest bit. I'm just going to chuck the Rios on now, see how we go. Alright, so I got the headlight and the top bumper support Rio bit placed in. Can't actually fit the other Rio in at all, And pretty much my thoughts are the intercooler becomes the Rio. Very, very expensive Rio, but I guess if you get in the front hit where you need one, so insurance comes into hand. The headlight, although it's not the one I'm going to be using, still takes up the same spot, just got bolts finger tight in there. Had to drop the cooler down a small amount just to clear the front, even though it's just loosely sitting in there, still get a bit of an idea. You're going to have to tighten everything up properly so I can work it out. That way I can actually get the intercooler up there. There's some tabs on the back that originally went down to the other Rio. Trim them down. That is pretty much what's stopping me getting it into the right spot, and now I should be able to lift the intercooler back up a bit. Same on both sides. Probably good I had a couple of couplers on there, as it's the first thing to foul, and I want to make sure everything that fouls is out of the way. Looking from behind, there's actually heaps of space to run the cooler pipe up through there, and it's looking like I shouldn't need to trim the front of the rails. All depends on how much angle I want to run, but I need to get the bumper on there as well to test fit that. So probably make up one front mount, bump mount, whatever you want to call it, for the cooler. Once it's square and in place, might not be the final one, just a quick L bracket or something, just so I can see what it's going to be in position. That way I can tilt it where it needs to be, work it all out, then make some proper brackets. Got myself a little bracket made up in the middle, pretty shonky, definitely won't be staying, but both headlights are now nipped up into place. Got the little top Rio for the bumper in place, and trimmed off the two bits that were hitting the silicone joiners. Definitely going to, this side's pretty easy to see, trim off the front there, probably just to the second rib back. That way it'll just give a bit more space and will prevent any rubbing. Had to drop the cooler down a tiny bit, but it is only just below the radiator support, which shouldn't be an issue. Going to try the bumper on in a second, see if I can get a rough idea, see what I need to trim. Hoping it's really not going to be too much, and it is a bit of a challenge as everything's kind of loose as I don't have the guard mounts on, but hey, it's better than nothing, and it means I get a good idea. Trial fit one, not great. Top points we can get to line up. Can't get it to kick down enough as it's hitting pretty much straight away. Pull the mesh out of the centre. Probably leave the sides on there eventually anyway, but I'm going to clean out that bloody glue that they've put there. This should be able to be fixed by trimming off those chassis rabbits that kick out in there. You'll do that, then we can push the cooler back a bit. Try get enough angle so I don't have to trim too much off the bumper, as I'd rather not. Rather keep the lines pretty much how they are at the front. Even though it's a fiberglass aero bar, still rather not trim it any more than I need to. Take two, and we're a bit closer. Just popped a bolt in one of the holes at the top to kind of locate it as I play around. Don't want it jumping off on me, but yeah, still hits pretty good. Going to have to trim off probably ½ an inch along the bottom. Just do a nice even line. Really don't want to do that today, and that should be enough to get it to pull in behind the headlights, everything there. Once we can get that, it might be close already, but yeah, it only needs a little bit more. And I've got the intercooler, if you can see it, pushed right back against the cut rails. A little bit harder now as well, as the mounting point in the top is not actually central, so we're a lot further over that side than we are that side, but the points we're hitting are the points we're hitting. And also are at the tolerance where we're going to hit the upper support if we go any further back. Like we're nudging on it now. Once the cardboard's away, there'll be a little bit of a clearance there anyway. But yeah, pull this off, give her a trim up, draw some lines on it, I guess, then give her a trim up. Hopefully get them pretty straight so I don't have to do too much sanding, get fiberglass all over me. But what do? You got to get it done. Trial 3. Got a lot trimmed off the inside edge. Realised it's now hitting up in the top corner there. I've marked out where it needs to be. Chuck some tape on for some straight lines, and we'll try again. Also found out these top bolt holes don't actually line up properly, so I have to pull it across slightly to make it work, but should be right. Just have to get it mocked up enough that I can tidy it up, and I can come back to that later easy. Another trim down and we are closer. Just got to take off some more in this corner, maybe some more down the bottom. Kinda hard to tell at the moment. At the point where I pretty much need to position the intercooler right where it needs to be, move the jack out of the way, and just trim and trim and trim. But we'll see. We'll do one more trim on the corners here, and that'll be me for cutting up fiberglass today before I get too itchy, as I'm just wearing short sleeves. And just like that, you can't tell the difference, but a final cut's being made. Still got so many jagged edges. I've got to run round with a nice flap disc or something just to clean them up. They're looking pretty horrendous. A lot of them were already like it when I got it, but yeah, you can see the cooler isn't sitting square, which is causing an issue on the driver's side, as it looks like I need to trim more off. But I need to actually mount the cooler up before I can work out what I need to trim more. Look over there. It's a huge jagged bit sticking out. Another bit I need to trim, tidy up. But that's all I'm doing today. Gonna give this bumper a bit of a wash off with the hose just to get all the dust off, and then probably pull off the headlights, pull off the front frames and stuff, and start with some more sanding in the bay, seeing as I'm already pretty dusty. Found some motivation. Built a little top bracket, still needs a bit of filing off, make it look nicer. And we got two big alloy brackets coming off the bottom of the intercooler. They've been welded on. It's all sitting nice and level now. Leveled the car, central. Good base to work off. That's pretty much just where that intercooler is going to stay. Not much else is going to happen with that. Remove it tomorrow before I start on the next job. And the other one we've done is we'll put seam sealer up underneath, around the front, all around the back. Just got a lot more sanding to do for the tubs, but honestly just can't be stuffed, and it's nearly the only job left to do until the engine gets here, which from the phone call I had earlier in the week could still be a week or two. Just a waiting game now. But we'll keep knocking off little jobs. Hopefully get the rear end together this week or end of next week as well. Another video done. Making a bit more progress. Honestly slowed down a bit, especially after finding out the engine's a little while away. But that's alright. Better for my body. Still spent most of the day out here in the shed waiting on some parts to hopefully build up my stub axles for the diff. And yeah, a couple of other little jobs. Not sure what will be in the next one, but finished off today by just chucking some speakers in the front and the doors, so the cards are pretty much ready to go back on. Same as that one over there. Need to mask up all these firewall holes soon. Actually, next job might be spraying some undercoating in the front guards now, but we'll see. Anyway, that's me done. High five! Spin! Good boy.